Hello, welcome to More Influence and Impact, the show that unlocks the secrets of success for multi six and seven figure entrepreneurs. I am your host, Celia Faye Meisel, sales growth consultant, and I'm here to help you tap into the wealth of knowledge, strategies, and experiences of today's most influential industry leaders. And I've got one of my amazing friends, colleagues, I don't know what other words to use to describe her. Narelle Gorman. Hello, Narelle.
Hello, Celia. Thank you so much for
I should say
inviting me.
business partner is what I should have said. Friend, colleague, business partner, collaboration partner. And so Narelle and I are going to have a conversation with you all today and really dive deep into sales and the art of enrollment. And so Narelle is an expert in the art of enrollment and engagement from the platform, and also keeping authenticity in sales. So much so that she's formed a business around it called Selling with Integrity.
Yeah, actually, I started selling with integrity. I've had that business for over 20 years now. Yeah.
Incredible. Before integrity and authenticity were like buzzwords online, because you started selling before online was even like popular. I've heard you many times reference about looking in the phone book and
Yeah. Yeah. When the internet was just beginning, there was actually a company that I started with, and we leased out an executive suite. It was a small executive suite. And this was back in the day when I was very young. And I don't like to admit it, but I would steal yellow page books when I went traveling in hotels. And so I had stacks of yellow pages. And my target demographic at that time was the dental industry. And so I went into that room with one yellow page book. I think it was from Chicago, and a fax machine, which some of the people that are listening to this do not even know what a fax machine is. And I literally would go through page by page and contact those dentists and talk to them about the internet is here. You really do need to be on the internet. We will set you up with a website. And it's funny how back then it took, not convincing, but it took, the art of engagement and enrollment into enrolling those dentists in the possibility of why they would need a website. And that business boomed and boomed and boomed. And as you can see now, 2023, websites are just huge. And yeah, so that's kind of a little bit of my background.
yes, yeah. And so how did you get into like selling with integrity? Like, did you come across like sleazy salespeople, sleazy sales training? Like, what led you down that road?
I found that every time you mentioned sales, people would instantly get an ick about it. The ick, this person's going to try and sell me. This person's going to try and take money from me. And it was like, well, if you sell with integrity, we're not really selling. I'm helping you make a decision that's going to make a difference in your business, your life. It could be your health, could be your relationships. So, if you really go into it, it's like a salesperson is somebody that is an essential tool and is a big help. It's we help people make decisions. And a lot of the time, being a single mom, I remember walking into a store with a tape measure and $3,000 in my back pocket ready to buy a couch.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a really funky living room, and this couch had to be a specific size. I needed someone to hold the end of that tape measure. I needed somebody to say, well, this material is going to last a long time. It's Scotch guarded, da, 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 da. I needed someone to do that. No one did that in the first couple of stores that I went to. And I had $3,000 burning in my pocket.
Right.
And, and then I went to one where the guy actually helped me. He listened to why I was, why I needed this special shaped couch. And so that to me is selling with integrity, is actually listening to what the person on the other side is needing
Yes.
versus what I need to sell him or her. I don't
Yes.
need to sell anything. What
Yeah.
I need to do is listen, understand what their needs are, find out what their needs are, and determine, do I have a solution? If I have a solution, then I can present it. And if it's going to help that person, I can help them process. Am I going to be a person that will help you with that? Or is this product going to help you? Is this car going to serve you? You know, what's the point of selling a sports car, even if it is a Maserati, to a mum that has 3 kids that has to shuttle them all around to soccer fields? That doesn't work. So it's listening, the art of listening, the art of engagement, enrollment, and really being interested in people.
Mm-hmm. Amen. I mean, there is so much there, brilliance, Narelle, to really unpack. And so, what I'm hearing, it's like it's about the right, like making the right fit offer to the right person. So, if you're trying to sell something to someone that they don't really need or isn't going to serve their needs, like that's out of integrity. But if it's the right fit thing for the right person, then there's like you're being of disservice by not selling to them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And going back to that company with the yellow pages, I ended up building that company to thousands and thousands of dentists, and we had a sales team. And one of the things that I did when I would interview my sales team, I would be like, there's 3 things that I do not want you to do to be on my team. We do not cross our ethics, our integrity, or our morals to make a sale. The moment I find out that you did any of that, you will not be on my team.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really when the selling with integrity came into play, where I registered it as a name, and I would get brought into different dental offices, and I started actually teaching dentists on how to present treatment plans before it was even thought about having a financial treatment coordinator presenting. So
Wow.
the dentist didn't have to sell the dentistry, that the treatment coordinator actually did. Yeah.
Wow. So you were training people how to basically get out of sales, training dentists how to remove themselves from the sales process and bring on somebody who was a coordinator, but they were actually doing the selling.
Yep. Yep.
Incredible. Incredible. And so you've now evolved that what you've got selling with integrity, but you also have a coined key phrase that you say a lot, teach on,
Ah,
train on, that I'd love to have you dive into that now.
would that be sales is not a dirty word?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, sales is not a dirty word. It was I can't even remember where I came up with that one, but it was like that sleazy thing, It's like it's
Yeah.
not sleazy. And being in front of rooms and saying, having a group, maybe 300 people, and saying, hey, what comes to mind when you think about sales? And they put their hand up and they're like sleazy and they're like scam artists and they're like this and that. And I was like, hey, let's change the model on this. Let's
Mhm.
so that people don't believe it's a dirty word. And as a salesperson, let's have it so that we don't feel like we're dirty either.
Yeah.
So let's make it fun. Let's take that part away from it. And so back when the pandemic started, I was at home, and because I usually travel a lot for work, events all over the world. And
Mhm.
when the pandemic started, I was like, I want to do a little bit of a give back. So
Mhm.
I made this 6-week program up and called it Sales is Not a Dirty Word. And I offered it online, and I offered it at a really, really small price point. And
Mhm.
overnight I had like 20 people say, I want to do it. I want to do it. I want to do it. And I was like, okay. And so we did that, and they got a lot out of it, and it was fun. And then they asked to do another one, so we actually did Sales is Not a Dirty Word Magnum series.
Ooh.
I added that in there with a little bit of a twist of spice because I have a little bit of edge. And it's like I believe sales can be as much fun as sex.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. I mean, it's really redefining what sales is and how we show up for it and like what you were saying earlier about really listening, because like you and I, we connect with, and I want to talk more about like who you're connected with and the influential network that you have. But like for us as partners, like in consultants, like we get a lot of founders that are coming to us that they want to get off the sales calls. Like that's usually like, I want to get off sales calls. I want to bring on a sales team, or I want to do an event. I'm looking for a sales team for my event at, XYZ. And what I find is a lot of these founders, they're just burned out from being on the phones. Like that's a big part of it. And they're really not really listening. And so they think, well, if I bring a rep in, a sales rep in, like that person will close better than me. And that'll free up my time, which is true. But like, you can like increase your close rate and like be a better listener, and it not be so much about like having to manipulate or have the right objection handling technique or all of that. It's more about really being present with that prospect, because if you are genuinely, you have that certainty and that conviction that your offer is the right fit for them, like that's going to come across on the call versus like, I just need to get money from you. Do you have anything to add to that, Narelle, or insight to shine on it?
The insight that I would add to that is founders, they understand their product, they understand their service, and they have a tendency to speak about it in a way that they understand it.
Yes.
The person on the other side of the screen, the other side of the platform, the person, listening, they can get lost in what is this person talking about, because they just talk and talk and talk and talk. It's like, I have this process, and this process does this and this and this. And what it really comes down to is asking the right questions from your prospect. What did they need? And then share with what they need. And then if you've got what they need, then you can pair it up. A lot of the time, you don't even really need to go into the details of what you have to offer them. And just bullet it out. But they get caught up in this conversation. I have seen so many times that the person selling, especially the founder, doesn't even take a breath and has spoken for 20 minutes straight, and the person on the other side is just being polite and going, and that cracks me up, because it's like, at the end of it, even myself, I'll often do test sales calls, to see how people sell.
Yes.
And I'm like, this person didn't find out anything about me. Even now, like taking a look at what's going on in your background there. I see some books up the top. I think there's some crystals. I see a candle. I see some flowers. I'm noting the color of the shirt that you're wearing. And all these things tell me a lot about you. So those are things that are important. Who is Celia? Who is the other person? So that is selling with integrity, is having interest in the other person. It's establishing that, and that question that comes out, oh, how are you today? It's like, don't ask that question if you're not really, if you're not really into it. I would prefer to ask, why are we talking today?
Yeah, kind of the traditional, like the rapport building, like if it's surface level and you don't genuinely care, you're just trying to fill up space and seem like you care, like prospects pick up on that.
Yeah. And I would say the other thing, leading back to like the founders, that, expand, scale your business, be a risk taker, step out there, get somebody to help you with the sales. Don't try and piecemeal it all together yourself to save, you're stepping over dollars to save pennies. Bring in an expert team. Do it so that you can get there sooner, quicker, faster. Have an event, have the experts, surround yourself with the experts. And, I say, if you're going to expect somebody to invest in you as an expert and buy your service, your program, your product, then you really should be investing in others.
Amen. And
go ahead. Walk the walk, not just talk the talk.
Totally, 100%. And the thing is what I find, and I think you probably see this too, and you can let me know, is like, there's a lot of programs out there that are really designed for the startup. Now, in the coaching training world, the startup, the numbers are different than like a tech company and, like companies that are scaling to like multi-millions pretty quickly or billions even. But in the coaching and training space, like there's a lot of programs out there that are really designed for like the beginners and the new entrepreneurs. And then maybe there's some masterminds that are at businesses that are like 200K plus. But really, as a business gets higher income earning and gets to that 7-figure mark, like they need customized expertise inside of their business versus like the cookie cutter, like group program or mastermind. Because I've even had clients that spent big money in masterminds and they really didn't get any, and for multi-6-figure businesses, and they really didn't get any customized support, like maybe one 30-minute call for the whole year or 1 hour. Whereas when you bring in expertise into your company where they merge with your team and they're on calls with you and guiding you and advising you, it's a game changer for businesses.
Absolutely. I think it's really important, and since you brought up the coaching space, a business, a company that even a product, even a company that is launching a product, it's really important that the consulting and the expertise that you have know you by name. They know you by name. So if you are going to invest in like being in a coaching space, in a mastermind, in a marketing program, that you are known by name and that you understand, how do you learn?
Yeah.
How do you learn? Do you learn are you a good learner and you can discipline yourself and jump online and do the digital program? Or are you just getting caught up in the hype? You buy the digital program and there's no way you're ever going to go through it. Like, I'll admit it, that's me. It's like, if I'm not interactive and somebody does, and like the digital programs, as much as they're really good, and I know there are other people, like I think yourself, Celia, that you're very disciplined and that you'll go through something like that. But my expertise, wisdom to the people listening to this would be, think about the style of learner that you are before you invest in something, and be cognizant of that, and think about getting lost in a big pond, because getting lost in a big pond is not going to hold your hand and take you to the next level.
And it's that access and that speed that is going to get you there faster.
And then also learning from somebody that is 5 steps ahead of you.
Yeah.
Learning from someone that's 5 steps ahead of you.
Yes. Totally. And, there's just so much in there. I think just to add to like what you were saying, if you're going to go in, that they should know you by name. I will also add, especially the more advanced you get in your business, that they know your offer and they know your ideal client. And that's for anybody you hire. I have a client who we were on a call with one of the agencies that they had hired to support a marketing part of their business. I'm not going to go into details of what it was or anything like that, but it was a marketing aspect. And it became very apparent that this business did not know my client's offer or ideal client. And they had been working with them in a marketing capacity for a couple months and didn't know their price point. And to me, that's a big red flag. Like, if you'll, as an agency owner, talk about selling with integrity. If you're going to take money from people and offer them a service, and then you're not going to really know their offer and not really care about their results, like, to me, that is so out of integrity. And there's a lot of that going on in the online space right now, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah. And so that would be selling with integrity, buying with integrity.
Yes.
Be a buyer that has integrity.
Amen. And that you hold standards to your people. That's something that I'm constantly like reminding some of my clients about, is the standard. It's like, I've been having a lot of hiring and HR conversations with my guests on this show. And so we've been talking a lot about like abdication versus delegation. Like, Are you just, you're hiring and then you're like, I don't have to think about it. I don't have to look about it. I don't have to touch it. And then, or it's like, no, I'm delegating this, but like, I want to be educated and learn and like grow as a CEO versus just like have my head down.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about your network, because like Narelle knows a lot of people and Narelle knows a lot of like very influential people, and she'll call me. We were on a meeting with a client yesterday and she was saying these names and I'm like, I didn't know that you knew this person and I didn't know that you could get our client a meeting with this person. I mean, you know a lot of people, very high level influential people. Like that is something that is earned over time, right? And by being in the right rooms and showing up in the right places. So I know that's coming from my perspective, but like from your vantage point, like your network that you've curated, and like tell us a little bit about that journey and what that's like for you.
So it's that's one of the things. It's like I'm really good at selling others.
I know. And I'm like, I'm asking you a question that was totally not planned, that's
Right.
totally off the cuff, but it's a good one because like you really high level, very influential people. And yes.
Yeah, I say I'm like the secret sauce behind the big names out there.
Okay.
And, I'm the girl that's behind the curtain. I'm the one that is, encouraging that speaker that you have lined up to, that you've paid $1,000 to sit in the front row, or, even $5,000, even $20,000 to sit in the front row. I'm the person that's like, okay, behind the scenes, this is how we're going to make the offer. This is when we're going to make the offer. Are we going to help the people? What's going to happen so that when you speak, the host that hired you to speak, the audience that are there that paid to hear you speak, and you who are sharing what you want to speak on, that it all lines up, that it's a nice bridge. And that the people that lead, my most important thing there is that the people that are in the audience, that they hear it, that they feel it, and that they get a change from being there. Whether it's a dental convention, an MLM growth convention, a motivational speak, a relationships convention or event, any of those, so that the person on the platform is doing what they need to do so that the people hear and that they get to continue in the journey.
Yeah.
And that they'll pull that back into sales. And who are we not to make an invitation for them to continue? Many times you'll say, oh, I'm a great speaker, but I don't want to make an offer to people, because if I make an offer to people, that's sleazy.
Yeah.
Okay, you've just cracked me open. You've shared with me how to, I don't know, I'm going to go into dating, how to have the relationship beyond my wildest dreams. You've got me all excited about it, but what's the next step? What's the next step? If I just leave, you've hyped me up, but if I just leave and I go home and I don't have action items to follow, then I'm going to really be back in the same. I'll feel good. It was a great delivery, and it was great while I was there for the 45 minutes. But I get home and I'm amongst my four walls. And so that's what I really say to anyone that has the opportunity to be in front of an audience. Give them an invitation. Give them an invitation to continue with your work, and they get to self-select as to whether they want to or not. I would ask the people listening here right now, how many times have you heard through the grapevine someone had a party, but you didn't get invited? And how that made you feel? So that's the thing. It's like, if you put it that way, people get to decide. If you invite me to your party, your dinner party, I can say yes or no. But if you didn't invite me, I don't get the opportunity. And so I just say to people that are listening, if they're new in the sales game, and I shouldn't call it sales game, but let's face it, it's an industry. And without sales, you wouldn't be driving a car. Without sales, you wouldn't be on a plane. Without sales, we wouldn't be talking, because somebody had to sell me this computer. Somebody had to sell you, Celia, this service that enables us to talk
Right.
on screen to screen. Someone had to do that and make an invitation for us to use the service.
Mm-hmm.
And if we didn't get that invitation, we wouldn't be doing this right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you made an educated decision about what service that you use that enables this technology to happen.
Totally. Totally. All of the pieces, even the, for those that are watching the video, like the graphic design, hiring my photographer to do the photos, the logo, there's a lot that goes into it, right? I mean, sales and the exchange of money is really what drives, the revenue engine. Even if somebody's in corporate America, they're doing their job, somebody in that corporation somewhere is selling something that's bringing money into your business, into your company, so that you can have a job.
Well, and somebody had to sell the job.
That's true. That is right.
You had to invite that person to become an employee with that company.
Yes, that is so true. And that person had to sell themselves on their skill set and their experience to land the job. So it's the art of persuasion, communication, all of that, communicating your benefits. And so you said something about, when somebody's on stage or they're on the platform, making the offer versus not making the offer. And we've seen this where we have worked with some, quote unquote gurus who don't want to sell anymore. They reach a point that they just decide that they don't want to sell. I've seen this with subject matter expert founders. And what would you say to those people that maybe are kind of talking themselves out of selling? They have super successful businesses, and, like, how impactful is it for the audience to hear a pitch from the guru influencer versus a guest speaker that they bring on to do the pitch for them? Do you think that affects conversions?
It absolutely affects conversion. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely affects conversion.
Mm-hmm.
It truly does, because the minute you hand to somebody else, you're breaking the energy that's being built up by that person.
Yeah.
And that was what, and the trust factor. But you can also, there's a term called toss. You can also toss it to the person that's going to take it. And so it's a fine line there. And I'm going to go to energy.
Mm-hmm.
If that guru person or that founder does not want to do it, they're going to come across to the people on the other side.
Yeah.
So if that is the case, it's like, I don't want to do this, then their energy is going to drop down, and actually conversions are going to not line up with the invitation. So in a way, I contradicted myself there, but when I thought about it, and the person, you have to show up with the energy and and the enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Because if I want to sell you, I don't know, like I want to sell you this business card. And I've got no excitement about it. I'm like, yeah, it's a business card. It's cool. Okay. So now I'm going to give it to Celia, and Celia is going to tell you all about the business card. I've dropped the energy down.
Right.
Where it's like, I've designed these amazing business cards. I have put my heart and soul into it. I've been doing it for years. And now, Celia's my trusted advisor. She works with me, has been with me for years. And she's going to tell you all about this business card and how it's going to make a difference in your life. That I've given you trust. I've built up trust. And so there's an art.
There's an art to it. And I think that's I mean, I don't think there was any contradiction there, because it's situational, but it's like, number one, if you're going to do it, if you don't want to do the pitch and you're going to hand it off, that there's a way to craft it so energy isn't lost, that you still keep the engagement in the room. So if you're going to do it, make sure that you have a strategy and you have a way of doing it to maintain that energy, because like people will feel it. And absolutely, if it's not done the right way, energy will be lost, momentum will be lost, conversions will be affected.
Right. And, going back to the scaling, if we're talking about people that are 6 figures that want to move up to 7 figures, you're not going to be able to scale without putting trust in other people that can represent you and that can
Yeah.
represent you with integrity.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would encourage those that are out here listening today that are wanting to scale, that are wanting to grow their business. It's like become the CEO of your business. Take off the sales hat, give it to someone else to do, train them, give them the tools, give them the trust, give them the directions, and give them everything that they need. And then you can be the CEO and you can scale.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do it all yourself.
You don't. You don't. And you can decide if you want to be a sales manager or not, because maybe you don't want to train them. Maybe you don't want to teach them all the sales processes, and that's where you can look at bringing in, an in-house team to manage and recruit your reps, or you can look at bringing an outsourced team. And those are things that Narelle and I both help clients with. In our partnerships, is helping them to get that sales team in place and scale their offers. So that's so well put, Narelle, is like stepping into that. And there are things that need to be in place in terms of marketing, because we do get a lot of people that they want a sales team and their business is not ready for it. And just because they don't want to sell. And it's like, you have to have the pieces in place, a certain amount of leads and marketing and things happening, proven offer inside of the business before your sales ready to like bring on a sales team.
Yeah. I always say sales drives marketing, marketing drives sales.
Yeah.
And you need both of them for it to happen. And I get a lot of people that'll come to me and they're like, oh, Narelle, I've got this service, or, who can sell it for me? And I was like, well, how long have you had it for? How many people have you enrolled in it? Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is you want, and a lot of the time, we want to do it 100% commission. I want to give this salesperson an opportunity to sell, and they can sell 100% commission. And it's like, okay, so if I would say to those that are listening today, if you wouldn't do it, don't expect someone else to do it.
Yes.
Don't expect someone else to do it. It's taking advantage of people. And this probably sounds really strong, but it is. It's taking advantage of people. At least give them a retainer against commission.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A ramp up if you are going from green. If it's a proven offer and you know what your closing statistics are and you've got stats and you've got all the data to back it up, go for it. But otherwise, and the reason I'm probably saying that because I just had a conversation with somebody. They're like, this person can come on and sell 100%. And then they're like, well, where are they? They're not showing up every day to do the calls, or they're not chasing business down. And I'm like, well, you got them on 100% commission. Maybe cut them commission down a little bit and pay them more for the first 90 days. Actually give them something that at least they can go and get themselves a Starbucks coffee a day. But people are going to be excited to turn the lights on nowadays. It's not like it used to be. Not like
true.
You got kids out there that are 25 years old that make $100 million from YouTube channels. So it's like,
it's a different playing field. You're so right. And I agree with you completely as far as everything that you said, because I see a lot of business owners that they think that the sales rep is going to come like save their business. And so they're trying to bring on the sales rep that they want to do prospecting and this and that and probably build their sales process. And it's like, it doesn't work like that. Like if you find that unicorn, you're still going to have to pay them. Like they're not going to do that all on, for commission only. So I think a lot of this is like the education of the reality of really what goes into like building a sales department. And so I really appreciate that you brought that up, especially like the commission only. And I've just seen too many times people bring in a rep and they expect them to just perform this magic, and they don't even know what they're leading. And I feel like that's really where like you've got to be the CEO and lead and be in a position to like lead a team. And if you're not that, then you want to look at bringing in an in-house management through outsourced consulting or bring an outsourced sales team in. But either way, your offer and your business has to be ready for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Narelle. It was so fun to talk and jam out on sales. This is the first all exclusive sales recording that we have done. And
Ah,
so I know that our listeners will take away a lot from the conversation, and let everybody know how they can connect with you further.
well, as I said, I kind of hide behind the scenes, but find me on Instagram, and
Mhm,
it's results you want
mhm.
underscore. Yeah,
Results you want underscore. Yes.
results
We
you
are
want.
working on getting her presence going. But yes, what else, Narelle? Where else?
They can find me on LinkedIn,
Okay.
Narelle Gorman, and
Okay.
you won't see anything for many years because you know, and that's it's funny because once you get to, and I would say this is not said with ego, but it's said with statistics and tracking.
Mhm.
Once you have established a name, a reputation, which comes with your branding, which
Yep.
comes with your marketing, it's like once you've established that, like mine is a quiet brand.
Yeah.
It's a quiet brand that is word of mouth behind the scenes.
Yep.
Now, if it was a brand that was all up in if I was on platform all the time and I wanted to get speaking gigs everywhere, then I would need a huge presence and I would need sizzle reels and things like that. So
Mhm.
obviously we can go on and on and on. But yeah, if you want to find me, look, you can find me on Instagram or LinkedIn. And Instagram's probably the best one. And you can
Mhm.
direct message me, and one of my assistant or somebody will read that and then pass it on to me, and I'll take a look at it, and then we'll go back.
Perfect. Perfect. Well,
I
thank you so much.
appreciate you. I
Yeah.
appreciate you for setting this up. I appreciate you for what you do in the world.
Thank you.
I appreciate you for making a difference in the lives of entrepreneurs, founders, and people that maybe didn't know that sales was not a dirty word.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Narelle. Well, thank you so much for your expertise and your brilliance. And thank you, everyone, for listening and viewing. This is Celia Faye Meisel with More Influence and